Okay. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Greetings, friends from all over the world. Welcome to the International Youth Webinar 2020. Today's event is very special because our participants are literally from across the world, with 15 different countries spanning from the United States of America to Thailand. Um, so thank you all so much for being able to overcome the time difference. And today we welcome all 105 of you. I would also like to thank and welcome the ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to the state of Qatar, His Excellency Mr. Ridwan Hassan, the head of Permika, Mr. Ahmed Charnoubi, and the head of PPI Qatar, Naufal Aziz. This event is presented by the Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia in Qatar, the state of Permika, and PPI Qatar. My name is Iza Alyssa, and I will accompany our amazing speakers as the moderator tonight. And the theme of this event is reimagining the Indonesian Youth Pledge by exploring the role of young Indonesian diaspora in the 21st century. And before we dive into the program, allow me to introduce myself on a deeper level. So, this topic is very close to my heart because I am an Indonesian that was raised in Qatar, which makes me a third culture kid. And for those who are unfamiliar with the term, a third culture kid is a person who grew up in a country other than their parents during their developmental years. So I see a lot of you that are third culture kids in here. And in my experience as a third culture kid, the idea of nationality and identity gets challenged. For instance, when I go back to Indonesia, I feel foreign. And I still feel foreign when I'm in my host country, which is Qatar. And both countries are a part of me. And yet I never feel like I'm ever enough for either. And growing up as a third culture kid, I often ask myself, how can I love Indonesia when I feel at home in Qatar? And why is everyone pressuring me to even choose one over the other? And so a little deeper into me. Currently, I am a student in VCU Arts, Qatar, and I'm also a recipient of the Creative Innovation Scholarship. awarded by none other than Her Highness Sheikh Hamza bin Nasser. And so that's a pretty heavy involvement there in Qatar. But at the same time, I'm a prominent member of the Community Service Division in OISA, Overseas Indonesian Students Alliance, also known as PPI Dunia. So on one hand, I'm building a country that raised me through design and innovation. And on the other, I am elevating those in need in Indonesia by doing community service. And I feel like that's the only way, it's like to split myself. But not a lot of people agree. Not a lot of people find that valid. And so, who am I actually patriotic to? And what is patriotism? And why does it even matter? And so the ultimate goal for this event is for us, third culture kids and diasporas, to get answers to some of our most challenging questions like that. And this event wants to empower you, and we want to make you more self-aware so that you feel more secure with your identity. This program will take over an hour and 30 minutes from 3:15 p.m. to 4:45 p.m. Qatar time. With questions as heavy as that, we also have to bring grand speakers, right? And so please allow me to introduce our speakers for today. Firstly, here he is. We have Mr. Maulana Shahid, who is the Chargé d'Affaires of the Republic of Indonesia in Qatar, who will give his opening remarks. And then next, we have Mrs. Emeraldina, who graduated from the University of Indonesia with a Bachelor of Psychology. She also has a very colorful work experience, with her last position being in Houston, Texas. And now she's based in Qatar as a psychologist and a counselor at Sahabatku Indo Qatar. In her field, her focus are on parenting, women's studies, Indonesian teenager activities as a diaspora in Qatar. And last but definitely not the least, we have Dr. Anto Muhsin, who is a science, technology, and society expert at the Northwestern University in Qatar. He has earned his bachelor and master's degree in mechanical engineering from City College University of New York, and he has earned Masters of Arts in Science and Technology Studies from Cornell University, and Doctor of Philosophy in Science and Technology Studies in Cornell University. So for more exciting news, we'll also be premiering the winning video of the virtual Pancasila competition by Khairul Muhram tonight. And we will also be showing you a video of the Indonesian arts community in Qatar. Furthermore, we'll also have discussions with members of Anak Qatar, which is a third culture kid community that exists in Qatar. And to spice things up, we also will be playing Kahoot. And so there's a lot of very, very exciting things today. I would also, while we're in the topic, I'd also remind you to go on to the Kahoot app or Kahoot, www.kahoot.com to access that. And for the convenience of our future events, we've also provided a link in the poll that you can fill so we can bring awareness. We can bring the events that you want to reality. And before we begin, I would also like to inform you that there will be a Q&A session and discussions with the speakers after the presentation. So if you have any questions, please write your name, your region, followed by your question in the chat box, and our team will select your questions and to be discussed by the end of the program. Now, I will pass the event to our opening remarks, Mr. Maulana Shahid, the Chargé d'Affaires of Republic of Indonesia, and then right after that, we'll be presenting a very special video for you all. Without waiting any longer, Mr. Maulana, the stage is yours. I think we might have a technical difficulty. I think Hi, Mr. Maulana. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Thank you. Can I start?
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear speakers, Professor Anto Muhsin and Dr. Esmeraldina, Moderator Nona Iza Alisa, Bapak Sarnubi Fatah, Chief of Permika, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm excited to be here in this event. I was told that hundreds of participants, mostly millennials, have joined this event, and to me, that is fantastic. I'm the one who believes that in the next 25 years, when Indonesia reaches its golden anniversary of its independence, the country will rely on very much to the young generation who are now at 12 to 18 years old, like all of you. So, my dear boys and girls, what comes first in our mind when we heard about the youth pledge? Yes, some might say nationalism, some other will say unity, and so on. Of course, all is right because at a certain stage, the youth pledge 1928 has united us as a nation. However, to me, when we talk about the youth pledge, that is not merely about nationalism or unity. The youth pledge has gone beyond the word of unity. Why? Let me tell you a story. In the 28th October 1928, a group of young men and women come and gather in Jakarta. Don't ever imagine that they were a homogeneous group. Don't think they were a single entity with similar background. No, they are not homogeneous. They had extremely different background. Um, they are different not only in their ethnicity but also in their language, social status, or even in their religion or belief. The Jong Sumatra, the Jong Java, the Jong Celebes, the Jong Islamitin Bond, they are different from one another. Still, they share similar desire and dreams to make an independent Indonesia. So what do we get from this? Yes, the Youth Pledge is an event where we should not only talk about our unity, but most importantly is to celebrate our plurality, our diversity. Boys and girls, Indonesia is so diverse and it's never easy to manage this vast and diverse country. Without having the desire to preserve and to respect plurality in our mind, it is impossible to love this country. So today, I want to emphasize my message to my fellow Indonesian millennials, Indonesian millennials. Please maintain our plurality. Please keep our solidarity intact. Unity doesn't mean that we eliminate or argue against our differences. Before I close my remarks, let me respond to some comments that say why in this webinar we use English instead of bahasa Indonesia. Let me recall the history that when the youth pledge took place in 1928, the attendees of the meeting spoke Dutch instead of bahasa Indonesia. But as for now, I assume that many of you are more comfortable using English instead of bahasa. This is very much understood because most of you study in international school. So whether we speak bahasa or any other languages, we are still Indonesia by heart. Of course, bahasa Indonesia is essential. It is very important for us as a nation. And that is also the reason why the Embassy of Indonesia has planned to conduct a short course of Bahasa Indonesia next year. So I really encourage you to learn Bahasa Indonesia next year in our embassy. Please come and join us next year. So with Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I open this webinar. Enjoy the discussion and make the most out of it. Let us cherish our diversity and our uniqueness and celebrate our plurality. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much for opening our event and also for being here. We really, really appreciate your presence. And definitely, like, there needs to be more encouragement in that. And without further ado, we have a very special video called Aku Anak Indonesia that will be presented. How's everyone doing today? Give me a thumbs up.
di Batavia tanggal 27 hingga 28 Oktober 1928, para pemuda itu berkumpul, mengucap ikrar yang dikenang hingga hari ini. Ikrar Sumpah Pemuda yang menegaskan cita-cita untuk bersatu, mendirikan sebuah bangsa, bangsa Indonesia. Kongres Pemuda kedua yang melahirkan Sumpah Pemuda adalah cikal bakal sekaligus tonggak utama dalam sejarah pergerakan kemerdekaan Indonesia. Pergerakan organisasi politik dan aksi massa yang dulu tak saling terhubung akhirnya diikat oleh sebuah kesamaan imajinasi tentang sebuah bangsa yang merdeka, berdaulat, adil, dan makmur. Pergerakan Jong Java, Jong Cilebes, Jong Madura, Jong Sumatera, dan Jong-Jong lainnya tidak lagi terserot dalam gerakan-gerakan tanpa poros pihak kuat. Di hadapan semua, sebelum merdeka, kita telah bermufakat menyatakan ikrar bertanah air satu, tanah air Indonesia, berbangsa satu, bangsa Indonesia, dan berbahasa persatuan, bahasa Indonesia. Bukan sebuah ikrar biasa, bukan sumpah biasa, sebab setiap kalimat di dalamnya memuat impian besar tentang Indonesia yang satu, Indonesia yang tidak terpecah belah oleh perbedaan agama, suku, bangsa, dan golongan-golongan yang berbeda. Sumpah Pemuda adalah buah kesadaran bahwa pertama-tama kita adalah orang Indonesia, baru kemudian orang Islam, Kristen, Hindu, atau Buddha, orang Minangkabau, Batak, Jawa, Madura, atau apa saja.
Thank you so much for the video. As a reminder, there will be a Q&A session and discussions with the speakers after the presentation. For those of you who have a question, please write your name, country, or region, followed by your question in the chat box, and then our team will select your questions to be discussed by the end of the program. And without waiting any longer, we invite our first speaker, Mrs. Emeraldina, who's a psychologist and a counselor at Sahabatku Indo Qatar, to deliver her presentation. Mrs. Emeraldina, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Iza. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum, everyone, and good day to every one of you who has made the time to come here today. I know many of you are probably wondering what this program and what my talk or Pak Anto's talk is going to be about, but then again, we're going to talk a bit about the Sumpah Pemuda and how we as youth here, wherever we are, can play part, in this nowadays world. Okay, I will start sharing my presentation. Bismillah, hopefully this works. Okay, let's see. Can everyone see this?
I think we're still seeing the whiteboard right now. Let's try again.
It's not supposed to be. Sorry about that. Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay, can everyone see it?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, good. Alhamdulillah. Okay, I'm going to talk about today's youth from the perspective of psychology. So since I know that we have a wide range of age here in this seminar today, hopefully I can satisfy everyone's needs. So I'm going to be trying to talk about this in the most easy language as I can, but hopefully we all get something out of this, inshallah. So let's start with today's youth and how we can revisit the youth pledge, or what we know as Sumpah Pemuda before. Where are we now? A brief look at how it was back then. As you can see from the previous video shown by the committee, the Sumpah Pemuda was declared back then in 28th of October 1928. But what was it like before? What was the situation like, and what was the condition like? There were some challenges from where it was before. Like at that time, we would have been under the Dutch colonization for 300 years. 300 years is not a very short time. Like it's like 3 centuries of Dutch colonization, and Indonesia has been excluded out of their natural resources. People are illiterate, poverty everywhere. We have regional struggles, and also sectoral resistance. So there has been some resistance from the people of Indonesia, but then since it was sectoral, it didn't really had any impact, any big impact. And then during that time, some Indonesian students somehow got together and they formed an association of the youth students of Indonesia. And then they come together with some youth organization across ethnic groups. Like you've seen before in the video, some in Jong Java, from Batavia, from Sulawesi, and also from the Sumatra. They got together and somehow they kind of decided to get together and talk about a vision of a united Indonesia, and also talk about how we can get out of the occupation of the Dutch. How can we make Indonesian independence come true? That's how the emergence of the young educated elites came forward, and they formed an association and begin the start of what we can call the emergence of the Indonesians educated elites. And then this happened. The Indonesia Youth Congress in Batavia, 27 and 28 of October 1928. It was called Batavia before, but now we know as Jakarta. In this Indonesia Youth Congress in 1928, that's when the Sumpah Pemuda and the Youth Pledge was declared. In this declaration, there were 3 ideals: one motherland, Indonesia, one nation, Indonesia, and one language, which we all know as bahasa Indonesia. So for everyone out there, the kids, the millennials, and the Gen Z, if you heard about the Youth Pledge, it's Sumpah Pemuda. And if you heard about what's this Sumpah Pemuda all about, this is the Youth Pledge that was declared back then in 1928. What was the significance of the Youth Pledge before? It was actually the turning point for the Indonesian nation between remaining as a slave or rising to become an independent nation, and in where role of Indonesian youth pivotal to the proclamation of Indonesian independence 17 years later, which was on August 17, 1945. And also this was the what do you call that? The origin of what we now know as the national unity, the Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, or the unity in diversity. Okay, the key values that we can take from the youth before was that the youth before was very highly valued in their patriotism, optimism, their fighting spirit, their resilience, their love for the country, their vision of this unity and integrity and harmony for the Indonesian, cooperation or gotong royong as we know it, and their love of peace. This is what's making the Youth Pledge happen. So without all of this, I don't think under all those pressure from the Dutch, under all those colonization, under all those exploitation, this can happen. This serves as an inspiration, should be serve as an inspiration for the present generation of Indonesian youth to actually lead this country towards a better change. So this is where I really like to stress on how this values affect how youth before can make things big as the Youth Pledge happen. And now I'm taking you to where we are now. So some people are still you know that today's youth are the millennials, but no, actually the millennials are actually not what we're talking about right now, because the generation that are present right now is actually the Generation Z. which were born in the 1987 up to 1995. They are actually the ones now that are really playing a big part in the society, in the community, and also the emerging talents of today's youth.
Sorry for introducing. I would just like to let you know that the page is not moving right now. I think we're at a, yeah.
Where are we at now, Isa?
I think we're at page 5. We're right now we're in the first page.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
Because I'm already moving pages, I didn't know that I was stuck somewhere. Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Don't worry about it. I think it was stuck before the slideshow.
Yeah.
Like before you presented it as a slideshow.
Really? Okay, I'm sorry about that, everyone. So I'm gonna try again.
That's all right. You're good.
I hope I'm not going too fast or anything.
No, it's perfect.
Okay, can everyone see that?
Yes, I can see it now.
Okay, we're there. We're here. I hope. Can you see this, Isa? Can you help me?
Yeah, we can.
We're talking. I'm on the slide about the Youth Pledge, the Declaration of Three Ideals.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry about that, and then we'll continue. The key significance was that the Youth Pledge again was the turning point of how the youth played a big role in the what you can call the emergence of the Indonesian independence 17 years later. And the Youth Pledge should be an inspiration for the present generation of Indonesian youth to lead this country towards a better change. So this just shows how even as youth we can make a significant change to a country as big as Indonesia, to a country which was before occupied for 300 years by the Dutch. So it can happen. The power of youth can make things happen. Okay, Generation Z is where we are right now. We have a lot of population right now that were born on the 1987 until 1995, we call the Gen Z. So what are Gen Z actually? Gen Zs are more global. Yeah, some of them are what we know as the third culture kids, like Isa mentioned before. They're more global in the sense that they go places a lot. They're not new to different culture. They're not new to visiting other countries. They're not new to different cultures. They are so very global, in which sometimes they don't even know, they don't even realize how different culture works, because every culture looks the same to them.
Ibu Dina, I'm very sorry to interrupt you, but we have a special guest. The Indonesian ambassador to Qatar is here joining us. Would you mind pausing just for a few minutes to welcome Bapak Dubes? Thank you.
Welcome, Pak Dubes.
I think Mr. Riton Hassan is
Praying.
is going for a praying. Yes.
Yes.
I guess we can just continue the presentation then while we wait for him.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry for that, Budina.
It's okay.
Perhaps we can continue.
Okay. So we were here before. So we're talking about the Gen Z, everyone. The Gen Z are also under the influence. This is not talking about drugs or anything, but then they're under the influence of, nowadays they go to Instagrams, they go to the social media, and they follow certain people. They have idols. They have what you call biases. They have what we call now the celebgram that they follow a lot, and they follow what those people are saying through the media. They have also these TikTok influencers, Instagram influencers. So they're very much under these influences of the what you call the media actually. And they're also more demanding. Gen Zs are not afraid to talk about what they want, what they need, what they demand a lot. If they need something, they're not afraid to talk about it. They're more outspoken, and they don't really think that being silent is the way to get things done. So they're more demanding. They're eager to stand out also. They're not ashamed of being the center of attention. They are not afraid to what do you call that? Show what they have, and very highly confident. And they're also after experience. Back then, people don't really go out that much. They don't really pay much attention to traveling, for example, or people don't really take like going places or something priority. But nowadays, people save money so that they can explore the world, so that they can go places, try something new. They go out to eat, culinary, and they also try different stuff. So they're really after this experience. So they don't really, like old people or old generation before, they don't really think that saving money is the key to have a fun life. And they also start to have the sayings like, you only live once, and we should just experience what we can do whatever we can now, no need to wait, and things like that. They're also surprisingly pro-social responsibility. This is actually quite interesting, because the Gen Zs nowadays are really aware about the social responsibilities, such as helping the needy, feeding the hunger, being aware of the earth, global warming, and things like that, which we did not really see in the previous generation. Okay, but I would like also to talk or make into focus right now about what their struggles are. The children nowadays, compared to the youth before in 1928, how are they differ? What are their struggles, and what are their challenges? Okay, I'm going to talk about what Sahabatku has been doing for the last 4 months. Sahabatku is actually an online counseling application in which I'm a big part of. And we focus mainly on the online counseling for youth, teenagers from 11 until early adulthood, 25 years and below. This is what our data shows. From July 23rd until just yesterday, October 23rd, this is the amount of counseling that came in. You can see from the top that the most, the number one questions or counseling category that came in involves around kecemasan, anxiety, phobia, and addiction. In this, there are some attempted suicide cases, some self-harm, and some psychotic behavior. And the numbers are actually quite big, 1,200 just in the last 4 months. And then there are also a lot of questions coming in about puberty and relationship, conflict with parents, communication, and friendship, self-development, and so on and so on. And also at the very bottom, we have also some issues about sexual orientation, about same-sex attraction and stuff like that. This is just in 4 months. Yeah, and also married couples who have a lot of questions coming in about conflicts between husband and wife, about parenting, about communication, and conflict within the big family. Why did I want to make that, to focus on that? Because it really matters on how we can function in our everyday lives. If we can talk back about how the youth before have their values, even under all those pressure from the colony, from the Dutch, They can still make things happen, but how are we going to motivate our youth if what they have right now is problems with all of this? They cannot even function properly because they have so many issues related to stress, to anxiety, to addiction, to drugs, conflicts with parents, and stuff which we did not know could exist before. Okay, in just these 4 months, this amount of number happens. And this is only from Sahabatku. There are a lot of other counseling agencies out there. They also deal with a lot of stresses from our youth that deals with this kind of problem. How can we expect our youth to be like the youth before, which they can pledge the national pledge, which can make Indonesia become a better country, which can make Indonesia known in the world, if they cannot fix what was inside of themselves first? Coping skills. This is what actually needed right now. Coping skills. Children nowadays, youth nowadays, even parents needs to know how to cope with their emotional struggles. They need to cope with their daily stresses. They need to know how to deal with anger, for them to be able to take things into perspective, for them to be able to function well into the society. Issues at home. How can people do their normal activity if they have these problems at home? Because home is where they go home to. Home is where they go to rest. Home is where everything starts in the morning, everything's ends at night. And if they have these issues at home, how can they be more productive? And good role model. Like I told you before, that nowadays youth nowadays are really independent on the idols, on the K-pop generation, on whatever's trending right now out there, the social media. Sometimes I don't say that everything is bad, but then again, we have to really know how those role models affect how we think or how we behave or how we produce attitude in the society. So good role model are really actually needed right now, so that this youth can make a stand in the society. Personal values, like the youth before, like I told you before, the youth before has really they really value what you can call patriotism. To them, being an Indonesian means something. To them, being an Indonesia or being alive means something. Okay, I'm here right now. What can I do? Okay, I see this around me. How I can make an impact? I see this. How I can gather all my friends so that we can work together to achieve our vision. So these values are really needed for people or for youth right now, so that whatever our vision are, we can move forward and actually make that happen. Life purpose and goals. We can ask ourselves, ask our children, for parents out there, ask your children, do you know what your goals are? What do you want to become when you grow up? What do you want to take up for IGCSE? Stuff like that. Do you know what you want to, where you want to go to college? Yeah, these questions also come a lot to Sahabatku. Kakak, I don't know where I want to go to college. I don't know what subject I'm going to take. I mean, that kind of questions should not be asked with people, especially nowadays youth with a lot of access to internet, access to technology, access to information, stuff like that. So this basic matters actually what's missing right now from the youth around us. And for parents out there, we should not take this lightly, because this is actually the foundation of everything. If we cannot fix all of this, how can we expect them, to stand out, voice out their opinions, go out to the streets and do some demo like what they're doing right now in Indonesia, and to voice out their ideals? Yeah, so this is what I think really matters, that we can start now to become a better person, to become inspired from the youth back then in 1928. Grit and resilience also. It really pains me as a psychologist, as a counselor, to see these questions coming in from our youth. I'm overthinking, Kakak. Do you even know what overthinking are? I don't think I want to do it again. I think I'm just going to give up. I think I'm just going to kill myself. It's so easy for them to say that things without even, have the need to try first, to have that grit, to have that resilience, just like the youth back then, the Jong Java, the Jong Sumatra. And if we can just take something out of those people's grit and resilience back then, if only I could take just a little bit and transfer that to our youth today, I think we can be a better generation, and much even better than the youth before. So to everyone out there, to the kids watching this, and to the parents, please take all this into consideration and have a good communication with your kids, with each other, even with your spouses, and talk about it. What your problems are. Do you have any issues? What do you think is important? What's bothering you? So that after all this is done, after all of this is taken care of, we can move on to bigger goals, to bigger purpose in life, not just for ourselves, but probably, just like the youth, for bigger Indonesia, for better Indonesia, for better homeland. Yeah, so I really think that youth nowadays can actually do it. They have all these privileges now. They're more broadbanded. They're more exposed to the global countries. They have the benefits of internet nowadays. Internet is just like click away. They have smartphones. So things like this should not be a problem. It should be well taken care of. So in summary, we cannot continue carrying on the spirit of the vision of the Youth Pledge without first addressing the issues of today's youth, because mental being plays a significant role in everyone's productivity and everyone's purpose in life. And also we have to always take into account how the mind, body, and spirit are all connected. So if one of this is hurt, we cannot really function well. And family matters. All the problems in the world either begin in the family or end up in the family, like what Dr. David Olson says. So let's start from the home, from our family, because if we have that well-functioned family, then we can go far and we can do more. Okay. This October is actually not just only Hari Sumpah Pemuda, the Youth Pledge, on the 28th of October, but actually it's also the World Mental Health Day on 10th of October, 2020. So we can join together and we can be just like the youth before in 1928. And I think the future is still bright for everyone, even for us, the colonials. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the millennials, but then the Gen Z, the millennials, the Gen X, they have a lot of more generations to come. But I think it really starts from home, and it really starts from ourselves first. And that concludes my share for today. Thank you for the time. And
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bu Emeraldina, for the very thought-provoking speech. And I completely agree with you that mental health should be a priority, because a healthy mind will lead to a healthy society. And thank you so much for introducing the Youth Pledge. And while we talk about introductions, I would also like to invite the ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Ridwan Hassan, who is here today. Mr. Ridwan Hassan, would you kindly say a few words?
Yes. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Selamat sore and very good afternoon to everybody. Actually, this afternoon, maybe I'm not talking in the position as ambassador, rather as a former youth. About around maybe 40 or 30 years ago, I was a young man like you all. So it was really a very dynamic moment in our life where we got so many information, we got so many values that we study, that we exchange of views with others. So as a member of the young generation, we are, alhamdulillah, we are blessed. We got a good education. We got a good chance to do activities in organization. We do also have some chances to meet people from different nations. But don't forget one thing, that is not all of Indonesian youth and our people got the similar things that we enjoy in our position today. So I don't want to talk too much, but rather that with all the bless that we got, let's also think about our social responsibility and solidarity to our brothers and sisters, the young people, the students who are maybe nowadays they are living also in a remote area without sufficient facilities. So with that, I think the spirit of the young people as the agent of change, as a potential leaders in the future, we can do it since we are very, very young. So that is more or less maybe the thing that I can share with you all. Mudah-mudahan kita dapat ketemu nanti. Insya Allah dalam bulan November, harinya mungkin kita belum dapat pastikan, tapi soon, insya Allah saya dan keluarga saya akan berada di Doha. Terima kasih, selamat berdiskusi, selamat beraktivitas, dan selamat menjadi tokoh-tokoh pemuda dan pemimpin bangsa di masa depan. Terima kasih, wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ma'assalamah.
Thank you so much, Pak Pak Ridwan Hassan. That was very needed, and I think we all got very inspired by that. And we cannot wait to collaborate with you and like meet you in person after all this craziness.
Yes,
yeah,
I want to see all of my. I can also say to all of my children there in Doha because I'm now already almost 60 years old. So thank you very much. See you sometime in the future. Bye. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Saya pamit ya.
Yeah,
Saya pamit ya semuanya ya.
Yeah.
Baik.
Okay. We are going to be moving on to the next section of our program. And before that, we were actually going to take a group photo. So for those who wish to be in the photo, please turn on your camera. Oh, sorry. For those who do not wish to be in the photo, please turn off your camera. And for those who wish to be included, which I highly recommend, please turn on your camera. Okay. We're going to, okay, is everyone ready? Okay, so there are 3 sections, so I'm going to just narrate it. So this is the first one. Okay, say cheese, everyone. Okay, the next section. Okay, and the next one. Thank you so much, everyone. So we're going to be moving on to the next section. And in this one, we're going to be premiering the winning video of our virtual Pancasila competition by Khairul Muharram. And then that will be followed by a very special video for you. And now we'll be watching a very special video called Aku Anak Indonesia. Indonesia, cita pada bumi khatulistiwa. golden video. Okay, and right after that, we are going to be playing Kahoot just to, freshen things up. I'm going to share the pin on the chat below if you guys would like to log in, or just like, yeah. How's everyone doing today? That's great. I love that, Naima Schuster. Give me thumbs up. Give me thumbs up. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just waiting for the players. If this is going to hype you all, the winner of the Kahoot is going to be given a shout out with the KBRI Qatar. So it's pretty good. You know what I mean? Getting that new followers. All right. Oh, a lot of people are popping in. All right. Didn't know that was going to motivate people that well. Okay. Okay. We're going to wait in the next minute, and then we're going to start. And I'm going to start it. All right. Okay. One more person coming in. Ready? Okay, we're going to start now. 3, 2, 1. Which one of this is not the youth pledge? Which one of this is not a part of the youth pledge?
Miss, you have to share your screen.
Oh, do I not? Right. That's a very good point. It is, which one of this is not a part of the youth pledge? Let me go in. Okay, let me try again. Okay, I'm going to reshare. Let's go back. Sorry for that. Okay. Okay, can you try to enter this? Are you able to enter? Okay. Oop. Okay. We're gonna wait for 1 more minute. More people to enter. Okay. You guys are gonna be shouted out. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Okay. Okay, we're starting in 5, 4, 3, 2. Let's go. All right. Which one of this is not a part of the youth pledge? Two, one. Ooh, okay. It was the fourth one. Everything else was a part of the youth pledge. Okay. Okay, we got Ali and Sultan on the win. All right. Got 2 more questions. It's just a very quick one. Is this right or wrong? Youth Pledge was created in Bandung in 1928. Let's go. Time is limited. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. True or false? True or false? The answer is false. It was actually created in Jakarta or Batavia in 1928. All right. One last question. Okay, Ali's on the rise. All right, Ali, you're going to have to let us know your social media account.
The answer.
All right. Next. Last question. Which one of these was the high psychological concerns in teens and adults? Okay, think back to Bu Dina's speech. Is it phobia, anxiety? Is it puberty, romantic relationships? Is it conflict with parents? Or is it communication and social life? Yep, the answer is phobia and anxiety. Okay, let's see if Ali's still on the rise, all right? Dun, 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 dun. Ooh. Ooh, well done, Sultan, Tasya, and Nabila. Just contact us. Let us know what's your social media accounts or anything, and we'll give you a shout out. All right. Okay. So that was fun. That's something new. Okay. Hope everyone feels a little more refreshed, you know what I mean? And just to bring us back to the zone, we are going to, we're going to introduce the next speaker, which is our last speaker for tonight. And he is called Dr. Anto Musin, who is a science, technology, and society expert at the Northwestern University in Qatar. Dr. Anto Musin, are you here? Perfect. Okay, we can see your screen. Dr. Anto, the stage is yours. I think you might still be on mute, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Iza. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bapak Dubes, who may have left, Bapak Maulana, Bapak Ali Murtado from KBRI, Bapak Syarnubi Fatah, Bapak Alvin, and Bapak Sukartana from Permika, and representing PPEQ, I guess, Iza, on behalf of Persatuan Pelajar Indonesia in Qatar. So let me begin my talk, and it will not take long, hopefully. I'd like to welcome you again, and thank you for joining the Zoom meeting this afternoon. While you can do other things, actually. And I understand that many of you are so-called third culture kids, like Iza said. Either you were born outside of Indonesia, or you have a mixed heritage, and one of them is Indonesian heritage. If so, I'm a third culture parent, meaning I'm the parent of third culture kids or third culture individuals, and I'm sure there are many third culture parents here as well. So what do you know about Indonesia as third culture kids? You can type your answers in the chat, or you can also, I think it's better to chat, just type it in the chat. But common knowledge about Indonesia includes that it is the biggest archipelagic country in the world, right? We have so many islands in Indonesia, over 17,000 islands. And then it's also known as the third largest democracy in the world after India and the United States, the biggest Muslim majority country in the world. There are many, many beautiful places to go on vacation and visit, right? This is Raja Ampat in Papua. And we have Komodo dragons. So these are some of the common knowledge about Indonesia. Well, if you already knew this, good job. It's good to know some aspects about Indonesia, certainly. But sadly, many foreigners still don't know much about Indonesia. Those who do know Indonesia mainly as vacation spots, spots such as the beaches here in Bali, Borobudur Temple, Gili Island, the Komodo Island, the Monkey Forest also in Bali, Mount Bromo, Tanah Toraya, the Dayak Village, Mount Krakatoa, and Raja Ampat. Now, I'm not the only person who has said this, that Indonesia, even though it has a big size and a big population, is invisible. About 33 years ago, there's a professor, his name is Donald Emerson. He wrote an article, it's a long article, in this journal called Foreign Affairs, but check out the title that he used for his article, Invisible Indonesia. You know, in it, he argues that Indonesia, despite being a big country, is largely unknown to the world. And fast forward to 2007, there is an article, an opinion article, published on the New York Times. The New York Times is one of the most widely circulated and respectable American newspapers. The author of the opinion article, Philip Bowring, says that, again, Indonesia is this invisible giant of Southeast Asia. Why is Indonesia's invisible? Well, I highlighted what partly what he said is. It's because Indonesia's extremely low international visibility as a result of the mix of deference, inward-looking politics, and persistent lack of leaders willing to make an articulate stand on the world stage. So, okay, so you may think, but this was in 2007. That was 13 years ago. Fast forward again to 2016. Here's another screenshot of another article published on the British newspaper, The Guardian, written by Elizabeth Pisani. Again, in the title, she says, the biggest invisible thing on earth, it's called Indonesia. But it's waking up, she says. Now, Elizabeth Pisani did a little experiment in the article. She says she took a globe and then just brought that globe to a public space, a mall, for example, or a park. And then she just asked random people in those public places, can you place Indonesia on the map? She did this in London, in New York, and in Rio. All of the people she asked didn't know where to locate Indonesia on the map. They were like, we don't know. Okay, so even though we're literally the biggest island country in the world, not many foreigners know about it. And they have a hard time locating it on the map. So it's safe to say that based on those 3 articles from 3 different times, that Indonesia is still, unfortunately, invisible, meaning not many people know about our country. And in my interactions with many other people from many different nationalities, both in the United States and now in Qatar, with my colleagues at work and also with my students, they also sort of like feel the same way. They didn't know much about Indonesia. They don't even know that the shirt that I'm wearing, this colorful shirt, for example, it's called batik. And I have to tell them that this is batik. Okay, it's fine. It's foreigners. Maybe it's okay that they don't know much about Indonesia. How about you guys? How well do you know Indonesia? For example, did you know that there's a community in Indonesia that hunt whales? And they've been hunting whales for hundreds of years, centuries. It's called the Lamalera community in the island of Lambata in East Nusa Tenggara. Okay, and they've been hunting whales using their boats, their harpoons, and their techniques and skills. Really, really remarkable. So you may wonder, where is this island that the Lamalera community lives? It's right here, Pulau Lambata, Lambata Island in East Nusa Tenggara province, next to Timor, close to Wetar Island, you know, more east, further east than Lombok and the Komodo Island. Did you also know that one of the oldest cave paintings can be found in Indonesia? So this is a screenshot of a news article announcing the discovery. Sulawesi art, animal painting found in cave is 44,000 years old. That's old. And this is a painting of babi rusa or pig deer on the painting, and the painting can be found in Sulawesi. And in addition to the pig deer painting, there's also a handprints on the cave. Okay? The handprints are a little younger, not as old as the pig deer, but this is remarkable. What these paintings tell us is that Indonesia's ancestors were as artistic as the ancestors of other people, such as people in Europe. They were also fine storytellers a long time ago. And this is another close-up view of that cave painting. And did you also know that Indonesia is home to hundreds of species of plants and animals? You probably know this already. Indonesia is known, for example, as a home to the biggest flower in the world, Rafflesia arnoldi, a number of animals. One of them is one of the three big apes, orangutan, the stinkiest flower, rhinoceros, cendrawasih bird, and so on. But what's amazing is this news that was reported pretty recently. A team of scientists went to an Indonesian island and found not just one, not just two, but 10 new species of songbirds. So 5 species and 5 subspecies. And this is remarkable. Just in one island in the Gulf of Tomimi in Sulawesi. Did you also know that about 700 languages, about 10% of the world's 7,000 languages are spoken in Indonesia? Here's a map of the linguistic diversity in Indonesia. So all the different colors, each of them represents a family of language. And if you zoom in on one island, Papua, for example, you can see that there are dozens of languages being spoken there. This is a rich resource that no other country on earth have. 721 languages actually are spoken in Indonesia. It's amazing. And many of the languages spoken in Papua are not understandable by the other speakers. Did you also know that a few Indonesians have come up with some amazing inventions? One example is by this professor here, and he was trained as an engineer. His name was Professor Dr. Insinyur Sediatmo. He was the inventor of the so-called chicken feet foundation, or in bahasa Indonesia called Fondasi Cakar Ayam. So these foundations allow roads and bridges to be built on swampy lands. Pretty remarkable invention, and many people use it. Another invention is by another engineer, this time from Bali, Insinyur Cokroda Raka Sukawati. He invented a civil engineering construction method. So to build a flyover, a road above another road, using this new technique or new invention called sosro bahu. So the traffic on the lower road doesn't have to be stopped. And civil engineers and construction workers can still build the flyover above it. And I'm sure you guys know about Google Doodles, right? There are Google Doodles of famous scientists such as Nasir ad-Din al-Tusi, Johannes Kepler, and Einstein, and Marie Curie. But did you also know that there's a Google Doodle for an Indonesian scientist? Can you guess who? the Google Doodle specially dedicated for Indonesian scientists? Let's see if you can guess. Okay, I see one answer. BJ Habibi, nice try, but he's not the one that was drawn by Google Doodle. It's Dr. Samaun Samadikun. Okay, and Dr. Samaun Samadikun was trained as an electrical engineer. And he taught at Indonesia's most prestigious technical school, Bandung Institute of Technology. And so he's the only, so far, Indonesian scientist that has Google Doodle. And there are also Google Doodles for 3 Indonesian heroines. You probably heard of Raden Ajeng Kartini, but there are also a Google Doodle for Dewi Sartika and Maria Walanda Maramis, and many other notable Indonesian individuals. This is quite remarkable, such as the comedian and actor Benyamin Sueb, the novelist and literally a person, Pramudya Anantatur, and Ibu Sud, who composed many music, and a badminton player, Minami Sudaryanto. There's also a Google Doodle of the Youth Pledge. Ibu Dina has already shown you this. Satu Tanah Air, Satu Bangsa, and Satu Bahasa. So what does all this mean? Well, it means that there are many wonderful things about Indonesia to know, to learn, to be proud of, and to tell the world, even though there are still many problems with our country. But no country is perfect. And how can we make Indonesia more visible to the world? Well, I like to share 4 tips. First, learn Bahasa Indonesia. It's a language that is spoken across the archipelago. So this language is a window to Indonesia's culture and knowledge. You don't need to speak 700 languages, even though there are 700 languages spoken in Indonesia. You just need to learn one. And learn as much as you can about Indonesia. Learn about Indonesia using many sources, not just from the internet, but also from books, movies, literature, arts, and places. Go visit Indonesia. There's so many places to visit and to learn. And share them. Share Indonesia, share what you know about Indonesia to the world using your skills and creativity in various media. So let me tell you a couple of examples of how young people like you have shared about Indonesia on the world stage. I'm going to play you a clip. It's a short clip by these 2 girls, Malati and Isabel Wyson, who deliver a TED Talk about their campaign to reduce plastic waste in Bali. Okay, so let me stop sharing my slide and let me go to the TED Talk and share that with you quickly. So here's the TED Talk.
Bali, island of gods. A green paradise. Or a paradise lost. Bali, island of garbage.
In Bali, we generate 680 cubic meters of plastic garbage a day. That's about a 14-story building. And when it comes to plastic bags, less than 5% gets recycled.
We know that changes the image you may have of our island. It changed ours too when we learned about it. When we learned that almost all plastic bags in Bali ends up in our drains, and then in our rivers, and then in our ocean. And those that don't even make it to the ocean, they're either burned or littered.
So we decided
Panto, I think you're still on mute. Hello?
Sorry, I was unmuted. So you can watch their TED Talk online. It's really funny and informative. It's really great. And then there's this YouTube music video. It's a cover of One Direction song, Perfect, performed by Kurt Hugo Snyder and GAC, the three musicians known as GAC, Gamaliel, Audrey, and Chantika. Check out the number of views of their music video. It's more than 12 million views. And then there's also this other music video made by this EDM group in Indonesia called Weird Genius. The music video is called Lati, using a Javanese word. Check out how many views this music video has been seen. More than 95 million views. This is really a nice phenomena. In fact, the music video is so popular, it's been covered by many other YouTubers online. And then we also have Andriy Shahputra. He's a Qatari footballer, but born in Indonesia. Now, it's so sad though, when Andriy Shahputra was asked if he wanted to join the Indonesian national team, he said, no, I prefer to play for the Qatari team. Many netizens attack him. Many called him names such as, oh, you're a traitor, you're not patriotic. I think we shouldn't do that. I mean, he's helping making Indonesia visible to the outside world, especially in this case to Qatar. There are many Indonesian movies that you can watch on Netflix, and this is one example of them that's been subtitled in many different languages, but it's growing. We also have this novel, who I hope you have heard and read. If not, I encourage you to pick up a copy and read. The novel in Indonesian is called Laskar Perangi, and this is the English translation of it. But it's been translated to 26 languages all over the world. Really, really wonderful. So you can do it too. You can share any aspect about Indonesia that you know well, that you've learned, that you want to share in any media. And you can do so wherever you are. You don't have to be only in Indonesia. There is one passage that I want to share with you from the book Indonesia, etc. This was written by Elizabeth Pisani, that lady who also wrote that other article I mentioned earlier, who brought a globe and asked people to locate the map of Indonesia. She says that unfortunately, there are not many Indonesians who live overseas to settle in other countries. So the number of Indonesian diaspora around the world is low. And because of that, the influence of Indonesia on the world stage is also small. But hopefully we can change that. And please share with us what you think you can do to make Indonesia more visible to the world. That's all I have. Thank you very much, everyone, for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anto, for your very empowering speech. Like, it really makes you think, like, what can you actually do? Like, how can you actually contribute for Indonesia? And turns out that, like, you can simply be your authentic self and just, like, make that, like, a way for you to excel and be better. And so with that, to reward ourselves, we have a very special video that was put together by the Indonesian arts community in Qatar. The video gives us a representation of other ways you can contribute through arts. And without further ado, here's the video. Okay, I think that is the end of the video. So this is the moment that we've been waiting for. And we will now be moving on to the discussions and Q&A. And I think before we do that, I think we're going to bring up Aurora and Dita, who are also third culture kids in Qatar. Are you guys still here, Aurora and Dita?
Yes, I'm right here.
Hi. Hi. Wait.
Uh,
Hi, Dita. So, how are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm really great. So, while watching, watching all the presentations and all of these videos, did you resonate to one over the other? Like, how did you feel?
I do actually, because I resonate with I resonate with the presentation and everything, and I feel like the speakers today did a great job in explaining the the third culture, explaining and representing on how the third culture kids are. So yeah.
That's great to hear. I'm so glad like you could resonate with our points and all of that. And thank you so much for showing up. Also, Aurora. Yeah, Aurora, are you here, Aurora?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, Ka.
Hi. Yeah, I'm very excited that you're here because you are a part of a community, a third culture kid community, right, in Qatar. Do you want to tell us more about that?
Oh yeah.
And how do you feel?
First, I want to congratulate and thank the two presenters, Budina and Mr. Anto, for their great presentations. I think I resonated with them both deeply, especially when Budina said, as us Gen Z, Millennials, Gen Alpha kids, we have the ability, the resources, and the privilege to be able to promote our culture, our history, and especially to how Mr. Anto said that you don't only have to show patriotism in one way. There are multiple varying factors that you can do. And like how you, Kaiza, said yourself, just by being your authentic self, you're already promoting Indonesian, you're already being patriotic. And so because we are third culture kids here in Qatar, we don't know much about our cultural heritage or our history. So me and my friends, we started this initiative called Anak Qatar. It's an account on Instagram. We haven't done much about it, but please check us out. We are planning to delve into what it means to be a third culture kid. We're trying to find our identity. And yeah, we want to take you along our journey of self-discovery and how we try to embrace our culture while still figuring out that middle point between, oh, but I feel at home in Qatar. What about Indonesia? How would I feel connected to my homeland, to my motherland, if I can't speak the language as well, or if I don't understand certain dialects, or if I don't know the history as much. So yeah, and I hope you guys follow along our journey on there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you guys' initiative, because I do think that there's a huge number of third culture kids, especially Indonesian third culture kids in Qatar. And then I think also there's a huge number of I think the whole phenomenon of like third culture kids is very, very prominent in Middle Eastern countries such as Qatar, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia and such. So yeah, do check her out. Do check out Anak Qatar. Also, shameless plug. I'm also doing a research on third culture kids, and not necessarily about like Indonesia. It's just like overall in general, and like how it impacts our identity and sort. We're called cultural misfits on Instagram. So yeah, do check us out. And yeah, we're excited to have further conversations with all of you. Okay, and without further ado, we are going to move on to our last section, which is the Q&A. And okay, so the first question. I'm actually going to be reading out the latest one, which is Fatima Ahmed from the UK. She said, I wanted to ask if there is something similar, like you a group in the London. Would this be the PPI London Student Association? I feel reluctant to join as I feel like it is only for Indonesians studying in London. However, I'm half Indonesian and a British national. I really resonate with that question, Fatima, because like there's that distance, you know what I mean? With the whole like, are you Indonesian enough to be Indonesian, like to like join PPI? And honestly, I think it's a great opportunity for you to just be that in that environment of like filled with like, you know, Indonesians from varying different backgrounds. I felt like that's literally why I joined PPI with, because I never had that interaction. And so I would very, very highly recommend that. But yeah.
I would also recommend
yes.
you, Fatima, to join PPI in the UK, but not just PPI, but other organizations involving youth, Indonesians and otherwise. It doesn't have to be just Indonesian groups. But I can understand your reluctance to join PPI because of that perception that you have. It's only for Indonesian students studying overseas. For the most part, it's true, but it's not completely true. It's also for anyone, any students really, especially who have affinities with Indonesia in many ways. They can certainly join to any of these PPI organizations. The thing is, Indonesian students who are studying overseas may not necessarily have encountered many third culture students, third culture kids. So they can be not welcoming at first, perhaps, but don't let that deter you from joining, because you need to be persistent. Third culture children are still underrepresented in many of these organizations, but you should try your best to join and introduce yourself. Look, I may not necessarily look like a quote unquote typical Indonesian, but I have an Indonesian heritage. But let me tell you a story. There is even an American student who volunteered for the US Peace Corps, who went to Indonesia for her Peace Corps volunteer. She has Suriname heritage. So tracing back her ancestor, one of them, was from Java, and she has Indonesian typical features. The funny thing is, many Indonesians she met in Indonesia thought she's Indonesian. She has to tell everyone, no, I'm not Indonesian, I'm American. I look like Indonesian, but I'm not an American citizen. But things like this. So don't be reluctant to join PPI wherever you are.
Moving on, we have a question from Diva Schuster. Her question is, I am 20 years old and I have been born and raised in Bali. I am now at a point where I am forced to choose my citizenship between Indonesia and German, how is this fair, and that I am forced to choose while I like to be Indonesian and German too. It feels like it feels like I am forced to strip the identity I love and proudly say. Furthermore, it also feels like I have to choose between my parents' nationality. I hope that the Indonesian government can acknowledge the dual citizenship beyond the age of 21. Who would like to answer this, Mr. Dr. Anto or Bu Emeraldina? So she feels like she has this pressure of, having to choose between one of these countries.
Dina, you're welcome to answer this as well, including the KBRI home staff, such as Pa Ali. Let me share you my thoughts about it, Diva. I already mentioned in the chat, this is a really great question and a good suggestion as well. Many third cultural children who so far have dual nationalities have been pushing for this dual nationality law in Indonesia. It hasn't happened yet, but we're going to keep trying. At the very least, right now you have dual nationalities. I don't think you can necessarily. I don't think you need to necessarily abandon both, but hopefully, sometime in the future, the law will be updated to allow you to have dual nationality. But even if you have to choose one, don't be sad. It's okay. Even if you choose Indonesia or Germany, it doesn't matter. You can't. No one can really change who you are. You have mixed heritage in you, and that I think rises above all the citizenship law. Often people nowadays take citizenship more for conveniences than anything else. Okay, but that can also help. For example, the country of that person or heritage. Okay, you can still being part Indonesian wherever you are, whatever your nationality. It doesn't matter. So this is just a legal issue that we have right now. That's my take on it.
Assalamualaikum. It's me, Diva. Thank you for addressing my question. I just wanted to have a follow-up to that. I know, like, if I choose any of my nationality, it won't affect who I am and what both my parents have obviously blessed me with. But what if in the case where I choose, to keep my German and remove my Indonesian, you said that there are laws that are trying to be pushed forward. Would that law allow me to regain my Indonesian passport in the future if this is the decision that I choose to make? Because that's what I'm most fearful of, because I grew up in Bali, my family is in Bali, my extended family is from Java, I speak Indonesian, Javanese, Balinese, so I just feel like I'm losing a lot. I know it's just a piece of paper, but it feels so much more than just a piece of paper. And it's been very difficult because I'm turning 21 in literally 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. And I know that according to the law, I do have to submit myself to KBRI in Austria and announce that I'm deciding this. And a part of me is not ready. And a part of me is so fearful about when this new law is going to come. What will it cover? How can I protect myself in this instance?
I really can't say about this non-existing law yet, Diva, but I can tell you this. I didn't think, so the current citizenship law in Indonesia was passed in 2006. Before that, I didn't think that the Indonesian parliament was going to pass this law or a law like this anyway. Was going to be this forward thinking, because before that, the law was very discriminatory against third cultural children or children of mixed heritage. They were forced to take the citizenship of their father only. They cannot claim the citizenships of their mothers, but now they can do both. But again, I think for the time being, perhaps what you can do is choose this a quote unquote piece of paper or document based on practicality, which would be more advantageous for you in terms of what you need to do in the future, the schools that you want to go to, the career that you want to have, and pick that. And hopefully, perhaps in the future, you'll be able to hold this dual citizenship. No piece of paper, in my opinion, can really tell you who you are. Like you said, you've been blessed with this mixed heritage.
Thank you so much for answering. I really appreciate it and for giving me extra insight.
You're very welcome.
I think due to the time constraints, we can only entertain one more question. So that question is from Zaki. He's from UAE. I think we're just going to like answer it like very very briefly. How can we how can we put the youth pledge to our everyday life? That could be answered by Pak Anto or Budina, whichever preferred.
Budina, silakan Budina.
Saya sambil nyari questionnya tadi ya, excuse. Okay, Zaki. Yes, actually, Pak Anto and myself actually said this earlier in our presentation that when we responding to the change there. Okay, actually, by being Indonesia, being not afraid to tell people that you're from Indonesia, that you're Indonesian, then tell them that you're proud of that. I mean, it can just assimilate that into your daily lives, because from what I've experienced, that sometimes kids are so afraid of being left out from their peers because they don't want people to know that they're different, especially if you're going to international schools. Children nowadays or teenagers tend to follow what's similar to them. Like, oh, if I don't do this, then those people are not going to accept me because I'm different. Or if I wear special clothing, they're not going to accept me because it's not trending right at the moment. So by being brave enough, by being courageous enough to show people that, hey, I'm me, I'm my identity, this is me. And by bringing forward that I'm also Indonesian, being like this, I'm Indonesian, and nothing's going to change that. Because nationality, Indonesians, being your blood internally, nothing can change that. Just by being proud, by being able to tell people that you're Indonesian, in and of itself, is also something that you can put into consideration. Probably that's what my thoughts are, and hopefully that answered your question, Zaki. So be proud, you're Indonesian, so you have Indonesia in you, and you're going to carry that with you until forever. Yeah, so that's, I think, that the message that I have, considering this youth pledge and the ideals that were pledged like way back then, 1928. The least we can do as Indonesians right now.
Pando, would you like to add anything in brief?
Sure. So let me read Zaki's question again. Where is Zaki's question? How can we conduct an implementation of the youth pledge values to increase our nationalism and patriotism, as well as know what the youth pledge is one of the most respected legacies of Indonesia's history? So the youth pledge was declared a long time ago, almost 100 years ago, 92 years now. The results of the youth pledge is this country we now call Indonesia. Yeah, so that's one of the long-lasting legacy of the youth pledge. We don't necessarily need to really think about that the youth pledge the same way as those youth thought about back in 1928. What you can do right now is to increase the visibility of the legacy of the youth pledge. And by that, I mean increase the visibility of Indonesia. Okay? If you want to respect the youth pledge, the legacy of it, there's this country called Republic of Indonesia. Learn a lot about Indonesia from many sources, and then share about Indonesia. Do your best in whatever capacities that you think you can excel and share it to the world. Okay? So they know, okay, wow, this is an Indonesian person, or this is a person with Indonesian heritage. That what you can do in order to respect and implement the legacy of the Youth Pledge, I think.
Okay, that was a very well done answer, Bu Dina and also Pak Anto. And with that, I would like to close this webinar. So thank you all so much to all the speakers and all the distinguished guests, because you have helped us young diasporas and also third culture kids find a new value within ourselves. Thank you for new ideas and new conversations. And also thank you all so much for the participants, especially those who are still here. Thank you so much for even attending and also overcoming the time differences. We should all pat ourselves in the back because today has been a very long day. And lastly, I'd like to show high appreciation and respect for the organizing committee and also the sporting team, because we would not have had all of this conversation if it wasn't for your dedication and also hard work. So I thank all of you. So yeah, don't forget to, before we say goodbye, don't forget to check out the Instagrams for more events, and also our YouTube for the recording of this webinar. And with that, I thank everyone from the bottom of my heart. And yeah, I wish you all have a great rest of your day.
Thank you,
All right.
Iza. Thank you, Bu Dina. Thank you, the organizer, which is the Seni Budaya Permika and KBRI Doha. Again, Pak Christian and Pak Ali. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you all for joining the webinar. If you like, you can visit PPAQ Instagram account. I happen to be their faculty advisor. And email pensosbud.doha@kemlu.go.id or senibudayapermika@gmail.com.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thank you all so much.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Terima kasih Iza semuanya ya. Bu Sinta, Pak Anto.
Sama-sama Pak Ali. Terima kasih.
Ada bergema.
Iya tadi.
Alhamdulillah udah selesai.
Alhamdulillah udah selesai ya.
Terima kasih Bu Dina, Pak Anto, Iza.
Thank you ya semua. Saya nggak tahu loh tadi kenapa ya dengan videonya ya. Terus sampai sekarang nih saya nggak bisa start video. Bintang kayaknya diumpetin di bawah meja tuh.
Iya emang.
Pak Ali itu stresnya karena nungguin anak kayaknya.
Kita langsung dibekep.
Bayang.
Untuk video saya kalau nggak ketawa ya.
Alhamdulillah, tapi bagus Iza, thank you so much. I think it went well ya. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Kakak-kakak semua
Mungkin
atas
katakannya itu aja kali ya pas suara video itu yang kemeresek gitu.
Iya.
Iya. Terus tetap ya Pak videonya ya, nggak tahu kenapa ya.
Iya ya.
Padahal sudah di laptop saya, di screen saya tetap jalan terus tuh videonya.
Mungkin lagi
internetnya pakai wifi atau gimana?
Kenapa Pak Kris?
Internetnya pakai wireless ya, wifi?
Iya pakai wifi. Itu mungkin problemnya ya.
nggak stable.
Kalau yang saya putar di depan videonya relatif lancar nggak? Kan saya pakai koneksi kabel nih.
Mungkin sebelum
Lancar tapi juga putus-putus juga sih Pak. Apa ya? Kayaknya yang setelahnya jadi lancar ya Pak Kris.
coba aja Mbak Ika, coba kalau bisa dicoba sekarang itu bisa nggak gitu? Apa memang masalah gara-gara rebutan banyak member tadi gitu? Coba aja sekarang.
Saya aja sekarang tadi kan saya udah live ya, saya join lagi tuh nggak bisa buka videonya. Saya nggak bisa pakai video nih, nggak tahu kenapa.
Oh, sempat rejoin ya? Berarti tadi co-hostnya kali ya hilang ya?
Iya.
Oke, saya nggak tahu kalau Bu Ika tadi sempat rejoin.
Oh enggak Pak, maksudnya setelah yang tadi yang video kemeresek tadi, terus saya baru live, terus saya rejoin lagi.
Oh, ada problem join ya.
Iya. Baik kakak-kakak, saya pamit dulu ya. Terima kasih.
Ya, terima kasih.
Terima kasih Bu Dina, terima kasih banyak untuk partisipasinya.
I'll follow your Instagram account ya. Nanti if you see my account, please accept me.
Of course. Iya, aku juga pamit ya, ibu-ibu.
Oke, thank you.
Ya, terima kasih Iza. Terima kasih semuanya.
Terima kasih, Bu.
Mungkin live di YouTube mungkin bisa dimatiin dulu, Pak.
Iya, iya.